welcome. I'm Rachel,
And I'm Amanda.
and this is episode 53 of Books and Bingos. This week, we're discussing some new releases in May. So, Amanda, what plans do you have coming up in May?
Well, obviously, we're both in education. So for us, it means almost summer break, which I cannot wait for. On the last day of school, I'm going to London, with some friends. So I am hanging on to that every single day as part of my countdown for just making it through the end of the year. What about you?
I love that. I don't have too much going on in May. May is very much a just survival month every year. So we're just making it through. We're making
Yep.
it through.
Yep. It's a success to make it to the last day.
Absolutely. The last day of school is my favorite day of the year because there's just such a sense of like accomplishment and relief
Yes.
and just, I don't know. It just feels so good that last day to wave them off on the last day, send
Right.
everybody home, wrap up another year.
Right. And then you get to recharge,
Yes.
and just relax and do all the things. And then we come back ready for another year. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very cyclical. If you're in education, you know. So,
And speaking of all the crazy cyclicalness with our school year, have decided to go down to just one book recommendation each per week, just for now for the craziness, and then we'll see how it goes. So each of us will be bringing one book recommendation to you every week from now on. So, Amanda, go ahead and tell us about your pick this week.
so for May release, I chose It's You Every Time by Charlene Thomas. This is a YA, like magical realism, little bit of sci-fi time loop trope romance. And I've already shared one by Charlene before, and it was Streetlight People, and I absolutely was obsessed with that book. And so when I saw she had a new one, I was like, I had to get my hands on it. This one follows Sydney Michaels, who stops for breakfast at Dunkin' one fall New York City morning of her senior year. She really does not want to go take this pre-calculus exam because she's not good at math, and it's relatable. And then Marcus Burke also stops for a bite at the same time as he avoids something else altogether in his life. They're both kind of just trying to fill that time before having to go do something. And when they literally collide, they decide to play hooky and spend the day together. Only the next morning, it's yesterday all over again, as the two are stuck in a time loop with no hope of getting out. How will they move forward with life in a budding relationship when they can't escape September 24th? So I really hope that no one is sleeping on Charlene Thomas because her books are so unique. I've read a million time loop books before, and this one was the most unique one that I've read before. The ending is not what you think it would be, but still, wraps it up in such a great way that I feel like is true to the characters and the story. I love time loop tropes, so this was right up my alley. If you are somebody that hasn't read one before, I highly recommend diving in with this one. This book is a testament to human will, strength, and spirit, in addition to being such a sweet like love story. And I cannot wait to add it to my library collection when it releases from Scholastic on May 6th. So I'm really hoping it'll be in our fall book fair. Um, and content warnings would be grief, death of a sibling, death, drowning, parental death recounted. The bingo squares would be a 2025 release, romance, and this would be a great book club pick because it has a lot of conversations, a lot of themes that you could discuss with a group. The yearly challenge it would fit for is a book club pick and a romance trope that you don't normally read. If this is your first foray into time loop tropes.
So I have questions.
Yes.
First of all, does she actually name drop Duncan?
She does.
Okay, then
Repeatedly,
we need to get Miss Thomas here some sponsorships, Duncan.
right?
Get on that.
Literally, like every day, that's how they like run into each other. And Duncan is like mentioned a million times. So she needs a sponsorship deal.
Yes,
You're
she
so
does.
right.
Yes, she does. And two, do they remember? the last day?
That's a great question. And so she does, we get it, her perspective and his perspective. And later, as she's repeating some of these days, we do find out he remembers as well. So that, and then that takes them on a whole like, how do we get out of this? Or do we want to get out of this? And yeah, because that's where it got a little interesting, was where he was thinking he did not want to leave this day. And then she was like, okay, that's great. This is fun, but at some point I'd like to move on with my life.
Instead of just reliving the one day. Yeah, I didn't know if
Exactly.
we were getting like a 51st dates situation here or not.
Right. Yeah, no, they both remember.
That sounds fun. The kids will love that.
Yes, 100%.
I think the kids are also going to like my pick, and I have to say both of our picks are very us this month. Mine is called Catching Cryptids: The Scientific Search for Mysterious Creatures by Kim Long and illustrated by Nicole Miles. This is a fantastic middle grade nonfiction that's very STEM based. This really reminded me of the one I recommended a few episodes ago by Candace Fleming about the Loch Ness Monster. It's a very scientific look at these mythical creatures, and that is just a very niche area, and I'm all for it. I love this new topic of taking these high interest topics like cryptids and applying scientific methods and research methods to them. It's a great way to bring people in, and you're learning when you're not even really sure that you are learning, if that makes sense. So it's not only interesting, but it's a great way to model all of this for the kids. And if I read this in middle school, I'm pretty sure I would have ended up a cryptozoologist at this point. And in this book, they cover a variety of cryptids. It's all split up by kind of their location. So there's a land-based section, a sky-based section, and a water-based section. So we talk about, like river monsters and like flying creatures and like wolves and big feet, and we cover all of those, and it goes into a lot of the scientific elements behind all of the cryptids, and we really kind of look at the geography of the areas they're in, what other kind of animals they actually could be. Like if you think it's a kraken, maybe it could just be a super giant squid, and they kind of compare and contrast those, and I really love the scientific look at these mythical creatures. Just think it's fantastic. So, some of the cryptids you get to hear about in this include the Kraken, the Loch Ness Monster, the Beast of Busco, Mothman, and the Mongolian Deathworm, as well as the Skunk Ape, and many more. This is also out on May 6th. This will work for the 2025 release square and the nonfiction square.
It's so funny because like kids will be like, but miss, the abominable snowman's not real. Why is it in nonfiction? And so we have to have that conversation of like, people actually study this. Like, this is something that like people really either really believe or they very much are looking into the scientific, information behind it of what it could be or what people are mistaking it as. And I'm a believer. I think all that stuff is real interesting to learn about.
Yeah. And it is such a great conversation of like, is this just a story that somebody made up about one of these creatures, or is this somebody's journey of doing research? So, great conversation starters. I think the kids are going to love this one.
Yeah.
Fantastic pick, I think.
For sure. And you're right about the cryptids one before. Candace Fleming, I got it in my book fair and yeah, it's off the shelves. Like they are just so interested in the unexplainable. So, great topic.
Fantastic. And those are our recommendations for the week. If you have questions, suggestions, or comments, reach out on social media at Books and Bingos or email us at booksandbingos@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and join us again next week when we'll be recommending books with AAPI rep for May. Happy reading.